Imagine for a second that you just jump into the back of a taxi, you slam the door shut, and you just yell at the driver, drive.
Right.
You don't give an address. You don't mention a neighborhood. You just, like, say you want to go somewhere cool.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right. I mean, you are definitely going to end up somewhere, but the chances of it being the exact destination you actually had in mind are, well, basically zero.
It's a perfect metaphor, actually, because that is the exact dynamic playing out millions of times a day on computers all over the world right now.
Oh, absolutely.
People get their hands on these incredibly powerful AI tools. You know, they open up an image generator and they just type in something completely vague.
Like, make me a cool modern picture for my business.
Exactly. They hit enter and then they sit there entirely frustrated, just staring at this vague, kind of unsettling plastic-looking image.
The classic AI gloss.
Yes, the one that looks like a million other AI-generated pictures floating around the internet. And, you know, they blame the tool. Without realizing, they basically just yelled, drive, at the taxi driver.
I mean, if you have ever tried generating images for your business or, a personal project, you absolutely know that pain.
Oh, yeah. It's so common.
But today, we've got a blueprint to fix it. We are doing a deep dive into a framework that really changes the game entirely.
It really does.
We're looking at a comprehensive guide from our sources on how to build what they call a one-person AI marketing factory.
I love that phrase.
Me too.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're focusing on the architecture of creating a foolproof brand visual style guide using AI. So the mission for you today, for everyone listening, is to shortcut that frustration.
Right.
We're going to show you how to stop getting those generic, wildly inconsistent images and instead learn how to build a reusable, stable, creative system.
Because honestly, the hardest hurdle to overcome here, like the most foundational trap people fall into, is the urge to jump straight into image generation way too early.
It's so tempting, though. You just want to start playing with the pixels.
It is. But when you start typing prompts without a true foundation, you're forcing the AI to guess your taste and your target audience and your brand's core identity all at the exact same time.
Which is impossible.
Right. I mean, the AI is a brilliant synthesizer, but it's not a mind reader. A truly reliable workflow has to begin with brand context.
So to avoid taking that, taxi to nowhere, we actually have to put the image generator away for a minute.
Yes. Step away from the generator.
Before we can even think about pictures, we have to start with words.
We have to define the brand foundation. And this is fundamentally about human psychology as much as it is about the AI itself.
How so?
Well, humans just naturally crave visual consistency, right? It
Right.
creates cognitive ease.
Yeah.
When a brand looks the same every time you see it, your brain doesn't have to work hard to figure out who is talking to you. You instantly recognize them.
Which builds trust over time.
Exactly. But to get that consistency from an AI, you have to lock in a few vital questions before generating a single pixel.
Like what?
Like, what does your brand actually sell? Who is the specific customer? What problem are you solving for them?
Right.
What feelings should they have when they interact with you? And perhaps most importantly, what makes you aggressively different from the competition?
I really want to ground this because the sources provide an incredible running example to illustrate all of this. And I want to lean into it throughout this deep dive.
Oh, Velvet Soda. Yes.
Yes, Velvet Soda. It really brings these abstract concepts right down to earth. So it's a fictional makeup brand.
Right.
And when they define their foundation, they don't just say, we sell makeup to young people. They get really granular.
Super granular.
Yeah. Velvet Soda is built specifically for Gen Z women who want expressive, nostalgic beauty products. But the crucial part, and I love this, is what they are reacting against.
Yes.
They're specifically tired of those minimalist, clean, beige beauty brands that just, all look completely identical right now.
That is such a smart move. Defining what you are rebelling against is an incredibly powerful strategic tool.
It gives you an edge.
It gives your brand an edge, and by stating that Velvet Soda is anti-minimalist, you're immediately giving the AI boundaries later on.
So they describe Velvet Soda as vintage glamour meets youthful energy.
I love that description.
Right. It's bold retro aesthetics, but it's meant for messy, everyday use and social media culture. The feeling they want the customer to have is like finding a hidden vintage beauty item at a thrift store.
But with a modern, high-quality twist.
Exactly.
Think about what happens when you eventually feed that specific level of context into an algorithm.
Yeah.
You are drastically narrowing down the infinite universe of possibilities. You are putting borders around the AI's
You're
imagination.
basically saying what not to do.
Exactly. You're effectively telling it, do not access the sleek, minimalist data in your training.
Mm.
Only access the expressive, retro, vibrant data.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second.
Sure.
Because looking at Velvet Soda's perfect foundation paragraph, I'm not a copywriter, and I imagine a lot of people listening aren't either. If my notes are just a messy, bulleted list of random thoughts or, half-finished sentences and midnight ideas, am I just stuck?
Not at all. This is where we actually start using the AI intelligently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you do not have to be a polished brand strategist yourself. You can take that messy bulleted list, dump it entirely into a conversational AI like ChatGPT or Claude, and give it a very specific role.
So you prompt it first.
Yes, you
Yeah.
prompt it with, act as a senior brand strategist. Take my rough notes and synthesize them into a clear, compelling 5 to 7 sentence brand foundation.
Wow.
You let the AI do what it is fundamentally best at, which is structuring chaotic information.
That makes so much sense.
It totally removes the friction of the blank page, and it gives you a workable foundation immediately.
Okay, but even with that perfect foundation paragraph sitting right in front of me, I might still have absolutely no idea what Velvet Soda should actually look like.
Right, because words are just words.
Exactly. A phrase like vintage glamour is still just text. How do we cross that massive gap from a written concept to an actual visual identity without just, guessing?
You cross it by letting the AI cross it for you.
Okay.
This is where the workflow introduces a truly brilliant tactic. You flip the script.
Flip the script. How?
Instead of you sitting there staring at the screen, agonizing over what prompt to write to find your visual style, you feed that shiny new foundation paragraph back into the AI.
Oh.
You tell the AI to assume the role of a creative art director, and then, and this is the kicker, you order the AI to ask you up to 5 clarifying questions to figure out the visual direction.
Wait, so you're making the AI do the heavy lifting of figuring out your own taste?
Exactly. What's fascinating here is how this entirely inverts the traditional human-computer dynamic.
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, since the dawn of computing, we've been trained that the human has to come up with the right command, right?
The magic string of code.
Yes, or the perfect prompt to make the computer understand us. We have always had to learn to speak computer.
Right.
But by doing this, we're moving into a paradigm where the computer speaks human. The AI is actively interrogating your tacit knowledge.
It's pulling it out of you.
It recognizes the gaps in the visual direction and systematically extracts the necessary preferences right out of your brain.
That is so cool. And the text actually gives us the exact questions the AI asked for Velvet Soda. And they are incredibly targeted.
They are.
Like, it didn't ask a broad, terrifying question like, what is your style?
Because that's too hard to answer.
Way too hard. It asked things like, should the brand feel more playful and chaotic, or polished and fashion-forward?
Notice the A or B options there.
Yeah, and it asked if the color should be soft and pastel or bold and saturated. It even asked for specific cultural references like, are we leaning more toward Y2K magazines, 70s disco glam, or 90s Japanese retro ads?
See, those questions force a decision. It gives the human very specific scenarios to react to, which completely bypasses the anxiety of having to invent an aesthetic out of thin air.
And the creator of Velvet Soda answered with very short, punchy, instinctual replies.
Just gut reactions.
Exactly. Playful and chaotic, bold, saturated, Y2K magazines and 70s glam.
Simple as that.
And based on those answers, the AI synthesizes everything and suggests 5 different potential visual directions.
Yeah.
But hold on a second.
Yeah.
The whole selling point of AI is its infinite imagination, right?
Sure.
So if I have the power to combine Y2K chaos, dark academia, cyberpunk neon, and 70s disco into one single brand, why shouldn't I?
I know the temptation.
Right. Like, why restrict it to just one narrow direction?
Well, it all goes back to the cognitive ease we talked about earlier. It is the most common temptation when using AI, and it is a massive trap. Mistake number 3 in the guide, actually. Choosing too many styles at once ruins consistency. If you tell an AI to be minimalist and chaotic and futuristic and vintage all at the same time, it will try to obey you.
Then what happens?
It produces this inconsistent, muddy visual noise. A brand becomes incredibly hard to control when you mix unrelated aesthetics.
Ah, I see.
If a customer sees a neon cyberpunk post on Tuesday and then like a a pastel minimalist post on Thursday, they unconsciously feel disoriented. They lose trust.
Because they don't know who you are anymore.
Exactly. You have to force yourself to choose. You pick one main visual direction and perhaps one support direction.
Like a backup flavor.
Yeah, a secondary aesthetic that adds a little flavor without overpowering the main dish.
So for Velvet Soda,
Yeah.
the AI suggested directions with these amazing evocative names. They ended up choosing Soda Pop Starlet as their main direction,
I love that name.
and they used Tokyo Drugstore Dream as the support direction to give it like a little international edge. Now, just hearing Soda Pop Starlet, you instantly get a vibe. But Starlet, to me, might mean 1950s Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
To the AI, looking at its training data, Starlet might mean a 2010s Disney Channel actor. We have to sync up our brains.
We absolutely do.
We have to teach the AI what our specific version of this phrase actually looks like in the real world.
Which brings us to the translation phase, building a mood board.
Okay.
But again, we're not doing this the traditional slow way where you just spend hours wandering aimlessly through Pinterest.
Oh, thank goodness, right.
Right, we are asking our AI art director, based on our chosen Soda Pop Starlet direction, to generate the actual search keywords for us to use.
So instead of guessing, the AI told the Velvet Soda creator to go search for highly specific phrases.
Yes.
Things like Y2K paparazzi makeup, Tokyo drugstore aesthetic, and glossy lipstick campaign 1999.
Which are great keywords.
So you take those keywords, you go to Pinterest or Google, and you find a handful of images you love, maybe a specific product photo, a color palette, a lighting setup. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
The text points out a really microscopic detail that is actually the linchpin of this entire creative system.
Yeah.
When you collect these reference images, you cannot just dump them in a folder and show them to the AI. You have to write short notes explaining exactly why you chose them.
That is the crucial nuance right there. That's what separates a successful workflow from a frustrating one.
Because otherwise the AI is just guessing again.
Completely. If you just hand an AI a picture of a 1990s magazine ad, the AI has no idea what part of that image you value.
Right.
Are you looking at the model's hair? Are you looking at the film grain? Are you looking at the specific shade of pink in the background? You have to isolate the variable.
And the examples the guide gives for this are beautifully simple.
Yeah, you don't need a degree in art history.
No, you read things like reference 1. I chose this because I love the warm beige background and the really soft drop shadow. Or reference 5. The green tone here feels organic, but it doesn't cross the line into looking too earthy.
Exactly. You are explicitly pointing a flashlight at the exact element you want the AI to extract from that visual reference.
Okay, so we have the foundation, the direction, the mood board, and our notes. What's next?
Step 5. Generating the guide. You are establishing clear, undeniable criteria now, and this flows directly into the most critical part of the process.
Okay.
You take all those ingredients we've carefully prepped, the 5 to 7 sentence brand foundation, the chosen Soda Pop Starlet direction, and those highly specific mood board images with your explanatory notes.
All of it.
All of it. You feed it back into your AI assistant, and you command it to act as a senior brand art director and create a complete, structured visual style guide.
I want to spend a second on what this actually looks like, because it isn't just, a vague paragraph of encouragement from the AI.
No, it's highly technical.
It spits out a highly structured operational document. It will literally write out a typography section saying, primary font, a chunky 70s serif headers, secondary font, a clean, modern sans serif for body text.
It gives you the DNA.
Yes, it gives you the exact hex codes for your primary colors, like the exact mathematical value for your bubblegum pink.
Right.
It defines the lighting, the composition rules, the types of backgrounds to use. It basically becomes the rule book for your brand.
It does. However, this is where human intervention becomes non-negotiable.
Mistake number 7, right?
Exactly. Mistake number 7 is accepting AI output without review. The AI will generate a document that sounds incredibly confident, authoritative, and polished.
I always sound so sure of themselves.
They really do. But you, the human, must read it critically. AI hallucination, or even just slight drift, is very real.
What do you mean by drift?
Well, say the guide suggests a lighting style that leans a little too moody. But you know Velvet Soda needs to be bright and energetic.
Oh, I see.
You have to physically delete that moody suggestion and adjust the language yourself. If it misses a detail about that specific chrome texture you wanted, you have to type it in.
You can't just be passive.
Right. You must massage this document until it feels like a genuinely flawless, working blueprint for your specific business.
Because this document is about to become the actual brain of your marketing factory.
Yes.
So let's talk about the ultimate payoff here. We've done all this setup,
A lot of prep work.
a lot of prep. We have this massive, beautiful, customized style guide sitting in a document. It's theoretically great.
Theoretically.
But how does this actually save you time when it's, say, 4:30 p.m. on a Friday? You are absolutely exhausted, and you desperately need an Instagram post to go live by 5.0.
This is where the magic trick happens.
Okay, lay it on me.
You do not just keep the style guide as a PDF that gathers digital dust.
Right.
You ask the AI to translate that overarching guide into reusable prompt templates for specific, everyday assets.
So it writes the prompts for you.
Yes. You ask it to generate a fill-in-the-blank prompt for a product image, then maybe one for a blog thumbnail, then one for an ad creative. You are creating the actual machinery of the factory now.
The level of detail in these master prompts honestly blew my mind when I read the source.
It's intense, isn't it?
Very. I actually want to read a piece of the Velvet Soda product image prompt because it perfectly illustrates why this system actually works.
Go for it.
Okay, so when it's time to make an image, the prompt doesn't just say, make a picture of makeup. It says, visual mood, playful, fashionable, glossy, slightly chaotic, but intentional, cute overstimulation.
Cute overstimulation. I love that.
Right. Color palette. Bubblegum pink is the dominant color, with cherry red, glossy black, electric blue, chrome silver, and transparent jelly pink accents.
So specific.
Lighting. Direct flash photography, hard reflections, visible shine, slight overexposure, camera. Dynamic asymmetrical composition, tilted product angle.
See, that prompt leaves absolutely zero room for the AI to fall back on its own generic preferences.
None at all.
It is a highly engineered, almost mathematical set of instructions derived entirely from the foundational work you did in the previous phases. The AI doesn't have to guess anymore. It just executes the blueprint.
It goes even further because it doesn't just tell the AI what to do, it explicitly tells it what not to do.
Ah, yes. The negative prompts.
Yes, the prompt includes a negative direction section. It literally commands the AI to avoid beige-heavy palettes, earth tones, clean girl aesthetics, matte textures, and sterile e-commerce lighting.
Which is so crucial.
I just love this concept. It is exactly like putting up the bumper lanes in a bowling alley.
That's exactly what it is.
You are physically preventing the AI's ball from rolling into the gutter of generic internet aesthetics.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, those bumper lanes, the negative prompts, are necessary because of how AI image generation actually works under the hood.
What do you mean?
Well, AI models are trained on billions of images, which creates what we call a latent space, and the AI has a default gravity in that space.
It's default gravity.
Yeah. It naturally wants to pull toward the absolute center of its training data,
Okay.
which is basically the most common, safe, heavily represented aesthetic. Usually that's a sterile, well-lit, vaguely corporate digital art style.
The dreaded corporate art style.
Exactly. If you don't use negative prompts to actively fight that gravity, the AI will always slide back to that boring center. The negative prompts force the AI to stay out on the weird, interesting edges where your brand actually lives.
So you are basically fighting the AI's natural urge to be boring.
Precisely. And, this machinery also saves you from yourself.
How so?
It stops you from constantly changing your style whenever a new trend appears. This prevents mistake number 6 from the guide.
Trend chasing.
Right. It is so easy to see a cool new aesthetic blow up on social media and immediately want to pivot your brand to match it.
We've all been there.
But real, enduring brands need stable visual rules.
Yeah.
Your audience needs to be able to instantly recognize your content as it scrolls past them at 100 miles an hour.
Right. They aren't stopping to inspect it.
No. This master prompt ensures that whether you are generating a picture of lipstick today or, a picture of eyeshadow next year, it will always unmistakably look like Velvet Soda.
So what does this all mean? If you take a step back and look at this entire journey we just went on, the massive takeaway is that building a visual brand with AI is absolutely not about finding one magic secret prompt that fixes everything.
That is a total myth.
It is about committing to a structured workflow. It goes from defining your brand foundation in words,
Right.
to letting the AI ask you questions, to choosing a specific direction, to building a mood board with highly specific notes, to generating a comprehensive style guide, and finally translating that into reusable prompts.
Doing this upfront foundational work is what separates the amateurs from the professionals in the AI space right now.
Totally.
I mean, the amateur treats the AI like a slot machine, just, pulling the lever and hoping for a good picture.
Yeah, that's the taxi ride we talked about.
Exactly. But the professional treats the AI like an operating system.
Yeah.
This is the process of turning random, chaotic generation into a reliable, predictable, one-person marketing factory.
A real factory.
Yes. You invest the time once, and you reap the benefits of instant, consistently on-brand creative assets for the life of your business.
It is an incredibly powerful system that completely democratizes high-end branding. But, before we wrap up today,
This raises an important question, actually, one that goes far beyond just the mechanics of prompting and mood boards.
oh,
Yeah. Think about this. If these tools, following this exact step-by-step framework, eventually make it incredibly easy, fast, and effectively free for absolutely anyone to create flawless agency-level visual branding,
okay.
will a company's visual identity eventually lose its prestige?
Oh, wow.
If a single person in their bedroom can instantly produce visuals that look like $1 million Nike campaign, does a beautiful image still signal trust and quality to the consumer?
That's a huge point.
Right. And if flawless visuals become entirely commoditized, does the true value of a brand shift entirely away from how it looks on the surface to exclusively what it stands for, how it acts, and the community it builds behind the scenes?
Wow. If everyone can afford the exact same perfect, luxurious taxi ride, the destination and the conversation along the way become the only things that actually matter.
Precisely.
That is an enormous paradigm shift to think about. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We highly encourage you to take these insights, sit down with your AI assistant of choice, and actually try building your own visual style guide. Stop yelling at the taxi and start building the map. The factory is yours to build. We'll see you next time.